Okay, let's jump in here. Hey y'all. That's all this video's nonsense. Alrighty. Hello, welcome to day 2 of our selfie workshop. I'm super pumped. Today I'm actually in the studio, which is pretty cool. I haven't been able to, I didn't do it yesterday in the studio, and it just happened to be here today. It worked out. So I'm excited to be able to show you some stuff while we're here. We have like the bed set up, we have the chair over here set up. So we're gonna be doing some live demoing today, which would be super fun. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I'm gonna put a mic on actually when we're doing the demo. So there might be a little bit of finagling kind of halfway through when we're going into the demo. But I'm super excited. I hope that day 1 was super enlightening for you. You learned a little bit. You were able to like already practice a few different things. Actually, I'm gonna change my view really quick because it's bothering me and I don't want to be distracted. Okay, cool. So yeah, we had our first class yesterday. If you missed it and you're hopping in today, go back and watch it. I'll go over a few little things that we did yesterday, today too. But yeah, we did a lot of practical stuff yesterday. It was more about how do we set up our camera? How do we set up a grid? How do we set up, the lighting? What do I wear? Like all that kind of stuff that we think about. And so my hope for you is that like you'll be able to set all this kind of stuff up. All the mind stuff will be taken care of before you start doing these types of things, and eventually it will become second nature. So that when you get into taking pictures, you're really just about experiencing being with yourself, being with your body, taking pictures that are going to feel, maybe they're transformational, maybe they're documenting, maybe you're in like a really cool, like on vacation, you have like an awesome like villa you're staying in or cool hotel room, and you're like, this place is super dope. How do I take a picture other than like me just holding my phone out and just getting my face? How can I set myself up? How can I put the timer on and get creative in this space and let it like, let it inspire me? For me, my spaces I go into, I get like turned on by. I don't know if anyone else gets this, but like sometimes I'm in like a new cool environment. I'm like, oh, this is really fun. I want to play in here. I want to see like what it makes me want to like create. So it just, I don't know. I think that especially on vacations when like I go in, there's like fresh sheets and like cool decor and just like something a different aesthetic that I'm used to. That's always fun for me to play. I hope you guys also can hear me okay. Our neighbors are having a little Bills party, I think. So hell yeah for that. That's super fun. Yeah, so I hope you guys are enjoying the practical stuff so far. And I'm hoping today will be a lot of like dropping in. So I'm going to present a little bit. I'll get you guys going here of what we're going to do today. And all that good stuff. So let's see if I can share my screen with you and we can dive into everything. Okay. We're gonna go over here. Okay. All right, so here we are in our selfie workshop. I didn't know that my photo showed up here too. That's awesome because I don't have to bounce out as much. So yeah, today we're gonna just do more posing. So I'm gonna teach you guys a little bit of how to do some standing poses, how to like lay down and take some poses. I have some pictures in here. I wasn't able to find as many as I wanted to of mine. A lot have been archived. I thought I had more in Canva too, but I'm gonna kind of show you and like point some things out for you to take notice of if you're taking like certain different types of shots. So we're gonna do standing, laying down, and sitting poses. And then there's like a little section on like close-ups, which is like kind of one of my favorite things to do, especially if you're maybe there's a part of your body you're trying to give some love to. I always think that that is like giving like some time to spend with that and to take photos and to like love on that part of your body can be really cathartic and healing. So yeah, we're gonna do that. And then the transformation part, we're gonna do a full practice. So I'm gonna take you guys through how I put on my music, put on light the candles, get into my body, into my sensuality, and then I start taking photos. It may be only like 10 minutes. It could be 15 minutes. We're gonna see how like timing works out. But I want to like not to scare people. Like it doesn't have to be a long thing. It could really just be like a 5 or 10 minute thing in the morning and you're just getting down and dirty with it. To if you want it to be a full hour where you like are journaling and experiencing like different like emotions are kind of going on and maybe you pause for a little while. I know I would sometimes do it where I would like do a little bit of a practice and then I'd stop and I would like move the room around a little bit. And then I would come back to taking more photos because I was in a different headspace. Something else exciting I got for you guys is in the replay, there is also going to be a playlist for you guys. So, and it goes through lots of different emotions. So the first is actually like rage and anger, which I think was like kind of important because like for me, sometimes it's like nice to like get that like worry energy out, that like aggression out if I'm feeling a little riled up. And then it kind of like slows down. It goes into like a more sensual mix, a love mix, like high energy love, and then like slows back down again to kind of like more just like lower tones, essentially, like if you were to want to journal during that time. So I think it's over an hour's worth of music. So if you wanted to listen to, or you can pick a section. So you're like, I'm really feeling riled up today. I'm feeling a little like worried. I want to like move that out of my body. I'm going to put this music on. I'm going to take some pictures. I'm going to get into my practice, get into my body and see kind of what happens. Or maybe go to a different section of the day. Or maybe roll through the whole thing. I think that would actually be pretty cool. I actually haven't even done that yet. So that might be something fun for us to do. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens with that. Ooh, probably need to keep this on here. Oh yeah, it won't let me. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen with you guys and we'll dive into the practical today. And then we'll get into our bodies again. I don't want to take too much time with the practical stuff because we did a lot of practical stuff yesterday. Oh, here, well, I gotta represent. Hold on one second. I'm actually really not too bad at tech stuff, but like tech stuff has not been my friend lately these days. So it's always a learning curve, isn't it? Okay. So I wanted to bring this picture back up again because this is what we're gonna sort of like be playing with in the next couple slides. So if you remember, there's the window here, kind of a little bit of an idea of like what the photos might look like at these different parts of the room as you're shooting into the window. So being here, shooting towards your subject here, shooting towards your subject here at a 90-degree angle, and then a little bit more angle, not 180 necessarily, but 135. You're gonna get those nice deep shadows. I do have an exception to the rule for you guys today because I figured there's always an exception to the rule and I wanted to share that with you all because I told you yesterday don't ever shoot into a window and I was like, you know what, I'm going to give them something that's going to help maybe with that. I did make a few other little diagrams here because I think I like when I see a lot of more I'm a visual learner, so I wanted to give anyone that's also a visual learner like a few more examples of what I mean by like 90 degrees. So this would be like you standing here. So if you're doing like even branding images, this would be a great way to start like taking better branding images. And I'm going to show you the posing for this after that. But so you can get yourself set up and putting yourself on a 90 degrees, that's going to give you like those really like more textured look the little more shadows. I remember I was saying that yesterday that if you're kind of doing this 90 degrees to your light source, you're going to have a little more shadow on this side of the body and lights on this side. For me, I think this is a good practice to start to learn like your highlights and your lowlights and be able to put what you don't want to see in the shadows and what you want to highlight in the light parts of the frame or in the picture. And the more you move your camera this way towards the light, the brighter that you're going to be. So if you want like something a little bit more lit, you're going to come over here, keeping yourself exactly where you are. And if you are wanting something a little deeper shadows, a little bit more maybe serious, or you're just really wanting to highlight one part of you, like maybe just your nose or your chest, you're going to come a little bit more towards this direction and shoot into the subject this way, not directly into the light, but this way, kind of towards the corner. And then, okay, so there's a 145 degree angle. I was trying to play. Yeah, it was super fun with this. So this is just like another little example of it helps like for the visuals. Again, like I'm such a visual learner. It's like when someone says 140 or 45 degrees, I'm like, what the heck does that mean? So when I see it and I actually can like visualize it, I know that for me it helps a lot. So I'm sure a lot of us are like that in this space. So I wanted to show you an example. This is not shooting into the light, but coming to the side of it. So both these images were taken next to a window. So if you can imagine, this is actually almost exactly the setup I was in. Didn't have a window over here, but went on this side. And I think I just kind of sat right here next to the window and let just like the light from the blinds hit my face here. And it created this really beautiful, dramatic image. Like it doesn't have to be a boudoir style image. This was just something I took. This was actually taken during COVID when I was doing that playing around, if you guys remember from yesterday. And it just highlights like my nose, my lips, just like this part of my face and just a little bit of my jacket. And I love just like all the dark space over here. To me, like that's an interesting image. Like I feel like I can look at that and be like, okay, what's going on here? It's definitely giving me more emotion because it's not just this well-lit image. I'm like curious about it. And so like, that's why I love shooting images that have a lot more shadow and depth to them, because it makes me curious about like what's going on there. And I think like, especially if you're doing this for branding or if you're just doing this for fun for yourself, to start to create that depth of emotion that's attached to it, I think is really kind of a cool combination. And it's just fun to play with rather than just like everything we see and do all the time, you know? So just something fun to play with for you guys. If you have a setup like this in your house, again, like even if I'm at any window in any house, like you can take an image like this. So this was in my old apartment and super simple. I had the camera right straight in front of me. And then the image to the left here, this was taken between two windows. So like being a wall right here and then the two windows on the side, you can see how the light hugs the body this way and hugs the body this way, creating these deep shadows on the middle part. So I get to like not show all my bits out there, which is kind of nice. Didn't want to do that. I was really wanting to create mystery and really just highlight these curves of the body. And you're going to see those a lot more. I'm also really arching my back here and pushing my butt towards the camera. Again, if we remember, like whatever we want to be the largest thing in the picture, we want that closest to the camera. A lot of times that's our butt, our chest, maybe our face, pushing our face forward. So I'll just a few different tips to help you out with that. Okay, and then we have, so we're going into a little bit of more posing stuff. Hopefully this is helpful and these examples are kind of good. And honestly, like if you're watching this on a replay, I would suggest like you could even pause this and try these poses out a little bit. Like all are using just like one window source. So like if you have any window in your house, you can create images like this. So the one to the left here, this one right here, this is a pose I'm going to teach you guys today. Putting my weight on my back foot, always creating these V's, these shapes with the body. As women, we love to like accentuate our curves. So if I was just standing there straight, I'm like, not super curvy. I'm pretty square, to be honest. So the way I'm like getting this is like I'm angling my body a little bit here, and then I'm popping this knee. I'm pushing it across my body a little bit more maybe than you would normally do, just to create these really pretty V's. It's gonna be really interesting for the pose. It's beautiful, like for like a womanly shape. I'm also pushing this hip back and my shoulders away. So kind of creating this nice little curve here. It's also giving me a triangle. So we're always trying to create triangles with our bodies, and lots of triangles here and up here as well. So it doesn't look me just like being flat. Something else I could have done is push my hips back a little bit more, drop this hand down onto our leg, which is what I'm going to show you guys later. And maybe I'll do something else with this other hand, looking maybe more towards the camera. Always pushing my face towards the light here because I wanted to like a more of a full light face. So giving you guys a little bit of some ideas for some standing poses. And again, if you are standing, but you're only wanting to shoot like maybe your upper body, you can still get into this pose. It's going to put your hips in a good spot. And then you can kind of play with the top of you. I know a lot of people that have shot with me, I like to create like a base, like something for our legs to kind of sink into. And then I like to create like allowing the hands to move. So in this pose here, like my feet are super solid and my hands get to move. They get to move down the body onto my hips. Like I get to have fun with it. I'm also really stretching here too. So just some things to be mindful of. I know that's like a lot of things to think about. But once you start to get in this pattern, you're going to really like enjoy the movement of it all. It's become second nature, I promise. I wanted to put these two images in here as well, just to kind of show like how you can use your limbs to kind of cut space and create curve. Like if I was standing straight here, there would be no triangle or curve here. By dropping my leg forward, I'm creating this nice curve that I would not normally have. So sometimes we have to do that, right? And it also makes my butt look a little bit juicier. And you know what? I would even probably have brought this elbow back a little bit more so I could have like a little bit more of a peephole here, but at least I have like a little something in there. You can see through it. So being able to see a little bit of space behind you is also going to bring in more curve to this space if you have that capability to move your elbow back. And if you don't, you can always bring your arm forward. It's a playing game. We can say like, you know, I think it's funny, like sometimes like every pose is not going to work for everybody and we always have to modify. And so like that's something to remember. Like this is just my body type and things I've learned over the years. And these are some staple things to start with, but to really like allow yourself to move and be comfortable with that is really important. My grab is super loud over there. That's funny. I'm also getting like this side angle. This is at like 135 degrees. So my camera is kind of where we're standing and I'm shooting at towards the corner of the room. If I was to do a silhouette, that would be more from the side here. But with that 135 degrees, you're getting lots of shadow here, but also lots of light on the body. Now we have a bunch of lights, windows in the studio, so that's how like this is all lit up. Otherwise, just this one window light's gonna like highlight probably just my face, beginning of my chest. So just things to think about when you're taking these types of photos. And then I wanted to show this one too, just to give you a little booty shot, because some people might be taking these for the booty shots. And again, pushing your hips towards me. This is the closest thing to my camera. Pushing my hips away and pushing my chest forward. Then I kind of played with my arms here because I had this like, if I didn't have this ribbon here, I wouldn't be having my arms kind of like that. That's like giving me support to like move them more. But I probably would have them forward or up into my hair. Again, like the base is this, and then my arms get to play. That's like my motto. Like let's get the legs where they want to be, and then we get to play with our hands because that makes it a little more sensual, intentional, and fun and more interesting. So I wanted to show you guys a few laying poses as well. This one down here being the exception. I did this one up top because I felt like at least I can help you explain and how this photo can be shot from different angles. Again, this can be just like, if you're taking this for branding or just for fun, this could be done in jeans. It doesn't have to be like in underwear and things like that. So just a reminder that any of these poses can be done with pants on. And because I'm going to be wearing pants today, I'm not going to be in underwear for our demo, but just to give you guys an idea of what this kind of looks like. So laying on a bed or a couch or whatever it is, you're going to push into your knees. So knees here, pushing in the knees are going to help that booty pop a little bit. You're always going to point your toes. So even if you have shoes on, pushing into those toes, going to bring energy into the feet. I promise that's going to give you, just like, see this little like muscle here? I wouldn't have that if I wasn't pushing into my toes, okay? So gives you a little bit of that. It also brings energy into the body. When we're just laying flat, we can feel that in a photo. But when I'm like actually putting energy into my body and pushing it out, not only are you going to get like a cooler image, you're going to feel better. I promise you. Like, it's part of the process when we're creating these images, is putting energy into different parts of our body with intention. And so, yeah, so we have this here. I also said to split the feet. So I'm not going to keep my feet like together like this. We're always going to split them, making them a little asymmetrical. It just looks more interesting, and it's like a little tip that like will take your pictures to like the next level. Again, this would be such a cute photo with jeans, maybe heels on. You could change up your hands a little bit. What I'm doing here is I'm lifting up. I'm actually really pushing into my elbows to give myself a little bit more of an arch in my back to create like more curve here. So this would be such a cute photo if you're like just like maybe wanting to pop up onto your arms here. You can put up your hands more into your hair, and to create like some fun branding images. My light source is over here, so it's really giving me a lot of light on most of my body, but also giving me those shadows, which I think is kind of nice, rather than, like I said, just like plainly lit. You wouldn't see all of these kind of fun little textures in the body, which I think makes us feel more human and more real, which I love. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys an exception to the rule for shooting into a window. So I know I told you yesterday, never ever shoot into a window, and I'm like, I hate never ever, because I feel like there's always an exception, and I wanted to show you how you can make the exception for yourself. So if you have windows that are a little bit higher and you want to get lower than the windows, that's also going to create beautiful silhouettes that you might not be able to get shooting directly into a window, especially with a phone, because phones don't like it, and they'll create muddiness in the image. You might notice like, why does my face looks kind of distorted here. Again, you might want to play with the contrast, go into that black and white mode. But an image like this at the bottom, she is not in front of the window. The window is pouring over her. The light's pouring over her curves. But she has a darker background. So it's not, the windows aren't her background. So how you get this is raising your camera up a little bit and shooting down. So when you shoot down at the image here, you're going to get those curves, get that cool like silhouette without that ugly, maybe like window background. And I'm not saying never shoot into a window. Silhouettes are beautiful. They can be a little tricky to shoot if you're not used to it, but you're always going to want to, like, whatever you're silhouetting, you want to make sure that you don't appear like a blob. So making sure your limbs are a little more like either back, or making those triangles like in some of those other images. So, and I wanted to show you that just to give you a little creative hints and something exciting to play around with. And then I wanted to throw some like detail shots in here, because I think they're super fun to play with, and like kind of, I don't know, like more like they're very interesting to me. I love images that look like this, where there's like this. Again, this is edited obviously with higher contrast. So black and white image, I feel like shows all those curves like that you would want to see. Again, like, get creative with it. I never shot a photo like this. I was kind of like, oh, this is interesting. I've never brought my camera down low like that, because I think always to shoot kind of in a different, never from this angle, and I was just kind of having fun and playing. So I wanted to show you guys that. This is another one where I'm like laying on the bed and I'm pushing into my hips here. So it again, like another way to play. I pulled up my underwear because I was like, I kind of want to make this a little more sexy and teasy. But like, this is just my belly button. Literally, it's just a picture of my belly. It's like this highly sexual image. This one's a little obviously more sexual. But you don't have to go and like show your boobs, show your butt to get those like kind of a little more enticing images. And who wouldn't want to receive that? Okay. I think this might be our last slide for posing stuff. So sitting is our next thing. Again, like if you're going through this and you're taking your time, I suggest like pausing and like maybe looking at the images, seeing what you can play with. It's all a practice and we're all just like learning how to use our bodies in different ways. Trust me, none of these photos were planned. I just kind of was playing around with my camera, honestly, and playing around posing that I knew I liked. But a lot of times, like I'm consistently moving and trying to see like what's gonna work for me today in this body type and what I want to create and express. So my go-to posing when I'm sitting is gonna be on my knees. I wanted to show you guys a few others if knees aren't possible. But for me, I like being on my knees because it gives me ability to not only sit up, but also sit down into my hips. I can push my hips back and my chest forward, all the things I want to be in the right places for myself. I can do on my knees here. So even if I'm doing this as like a branding image and I want to just shoot the top of my body and I don't want to stand for it, I like doing stuff like this where I can sit back into my hips and push my chest forward and I'm just cropping here. Again, I'm just kind of playing. I brought my arm back. You're going to notice like seeing a little that like little peephole. That's going to be to show off like where the body starts and ends. That's all really important for the eyes. Again, this is creating some triangles here, even in my neck by bringing my neck up. I always say, especially in boudoir, exaggeration is like understated. So making sure you're like really bringing your head back, your shoulders back, allowing the body to move maybe a little more exaggerated than you may normally do, may normally shoot it. And then I wanted to show you guys a little bit of like, okay, how I don't like sitting on my knees. I can't do it for very long. What else can I do? So sitting on our butt, I always like to cross my legs kind of over the other. The reason I cross them is it makes for like a little bit more of an interesting shape rather than sitting cross-legged, maybe like this. Sometimes that works for a lot of people, but I find like when I can bring a leg up or even to the side here where I'm kind of pushing it up, again, my pushing in my toes on all of these shots just to give me a little bit more leverage and space helps me quite a bit. So if I would have a flat foot, this would be a totally different photo. Again, it brings energy in. I'm playing. This hand, like I love how like this hand is kind of expressive of like strength rather than maybe the sensuality kind of pulling in tight, but either could have worked, I think, pretty well. So again, this one shooting straight on. I don't do a whole lot of straight on images, but when I can cut a little bit and create a little more interest, I don't mind doing it. Okay, yes. And then before we jump into our practice, I wanted to just note we have our 7 days of selfies. So if you are jumping into this like midweek, like jump in with us. If you're jumping into this like months from now, or you don't really, there's no group anymore, do it anyways. I feel like this is a beautiful way to practice taking your selfies to the next level, ingraining them into your body. 7 days is probably not enough, but you could do this like repeated for like a month. I think that could be super fun. But I just want to give you a couple ideas. Like day 1, shoot in the morning light. Day 2, keep it in the bedroom, like still take some pictures. And again, like they don't have to be necessarily boudoir style. They can go into like just a documentation of where you are. Like what's the morning feel like? What's your bedroom feel like today? Maybe it's before you go to bed. Maybe it's not like right when you're waking up on day 2. Finding new angles. My favorite thing is to put my phone in like a plant. I swear, like it's kind of cool. And like I have a little hook on the back of mine, so I just kind of like snap it to a branch or something like that. tops of shelves, shooting down. That's something I've been doing a lot lately. If I'm like doing detail shots of something, cooking, which is kind of cool, or my hands, because I feel like instead of shooting it this way, shooting it down, you have a little bit like just a different perspective. And that's kind of what this is about, changing perspective. Um, we see, selfies sometimes as one way, and like, how can we change our perspectives on the selfie? How can we claim it for us? And like I was saying yesterday, like we see so many people taking selfies and they have like the formula that works for them and this and that. And like, that's why, like, with this class, I want to show you like what I do, but I also want to empower you to like find your own flow to it. That's why I want to just like not focus as much on how to pose exactly like me and just allow yourself to get yourself in a base and flow and have fun and like create from your heart and what your body really wants. Because it's going to tell you, I promise you. So again, like lamplight, pick another room in your house, like take some selfies in the kitchen. I know my kitchen has like the best lighting probably in our whole house. So it's always like a cool place for me to take pictures and go nude. I'm daring you. I dare you to go nude because it is like super liberating and super fun. So with that, I think that is the end. I have some editing stuff that's going to be a bonus for another time. And so we're going to stop all this sharing nonsense. Okay, cool. I'm going to take a little pause as we are going to transition into the next portion of this class. I'm hoping you guys are getting a lot out of it in finding a new way to love on yourself. So I'm going to put a little music on while I am getting the space ready and gathering some of my things. So feel free to put your own music on, gather your camera, create your settings on it while I'm starting to do my own. So going in adjusting contrast, adjusting the timer, adjusting maybe the f-stop if you want to do that, cleaning up your space a little bit, lighting that candle. That's all the stuff I'm going to be doing right now. So join me. And I think because I have my camera actually on here, you guys are going to be able to see me taking the photos, hopefully, while I'm doing them. So you're going to see the photos and me, like the video of like what I'm doing, probably at the same time. I'm going to try doing that. We're going to see what happens. So enjoy. Be right back. Love this song. Turn this down a little bit. So something I wrote as I'm kind of getting into my practice right now is what do I want to embody today? You know, I think we wake up thinking that we have to go with what our feel is of the day. Like if we're waking up with worry or discomfort or stress, or maybe waking up, like just feeling, just okay. But like we do give choice, right? We do have the choice to, switch what that looks like. We get to change perspectives. We have that ability. And, today I decide I'm like, I want to feel joy. I want to feel freedom. I want to feel relaxation, maybe. And how can I start to embody that feeling and anchor into what it feels like to be peaceful, to be relaxed, if everything in my body is sort of telling me different? And so, with intention, during this self-expression piece of today, I want to focus on that. I want to focus on my freedom. What does that look like? How does that feel? How does a woman that is free move? How does she take pictures? How does she connect to herself? And so that's sort of the what I'm anchoring into right now. Yours might be different. Yours could be like, I want to fucking rage. Fucking hell yeah to that. So if you're feeling like I just want to rage and I want to feel like this like sensuality, go with that. Like that's awesome too, you know? So but I like to set with intention when I have the space and time to. So if today's my intention is freedom, as I'm going through the next two steps of anchoring into my body and breathing, um, that's something I'm bringing into this. I think, when we hear embodiment, we hear that word a lot, right? And to me, embodiment is when I'm living with intention and acting in a way that would align with this value, belief, or feeling. So when I say the woman that, it's like the woman who I am, that part of me that is free. What does she want to look like? What does she want to feel like? How can we create that through images and in my actions of the day? And what is my part of me that worries, and how does she act? And when I'm doing when I'm going throughout my day of like, am I doing this out of intention and freedom, or am I doing this out of worry and lack? So just something to anchor this in a little bit, maybe make it a little bit of a deeper practice for you. If this doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. You can just be here for the selfie portion of it and getting the photos that you're wanting to get, that you've been wanting to get. But I wanted to just put a little different spin on it, in that like we get to make choice every day of how we want to show up and what we want to bring to the table, like what version of us wants to come to the table and what other one like we're gonna leave to not have to come. what are we leaving behind? So with that, I'm going to sort of just drop us into our bodies to start with. So if you are doing this with me live, if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to just drop into your body with me. I'm going to do a little bit of a breathwork meditation, and then we'll get to the selfies. So we're almost there. And again, like if this isn't for you, this portion of it, skip ahead. You don't have to do this part of it. Maybe you just stretched this morning. You're like, I'm ready to go. Let's fucking do this. So this will just be probably about 2 minutes. I can probably give you a timestamp when I actually upload this and no. So, but if you're here for the connected piece, you can start to close your eyes and drop into the body. Breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just starting to take notice of your breath, maybe how you're sitting. Are you leaning a little extra forward? I know I am. Can we lean a little bit more back? Can we find that nice center where we're nice and even? Bring my heart to my chest, and I'm going to start to breathe into this part of my body first. Breathing into my heart. Taking notice of any sensations or feelings, colors, anything that wants to come up from this space, any tension that arises, just taking notice of it, seeing that it's there, not giving a story to it, and just feeling it. When I say give it a story, don't make it mean anything about you. Don't attach any value to it. Just notice I'm having a feeling right now, rather than I'm feeling sad because I'm not worthy. instead of that, just say, I'm feeling the feeling of sadness coming up for me, or whatever it is. When you're ready, you're going to drop into your belly now, into the space between your rib cage and your belly button. Breathing in and out. Again, taking notice of those sensations. And then that's arousing for you. Let that happen. Allow yourself to breathe into this space. May feel even a little bit of warm. Maybe there's a temperature change in this part of the body. For me, I like to maybe allow myself to move. Sometimes I move my hand across this part of my belly too to start awakening it and letting it come online. Letting any tingles come up for me. And then letting go. Next, I'm going to start to drop down into my hips. I'll drop this down a little bit so you can see. So I usually like to bring my hands down into this part of my body to kind of hold my womb, or for my men, just like your groin area a little bit. For me, I like to put my hands here because it brings, for me, more intention to my body. And I'm starting to drop into my hips, breathing in through my nose and down into my hips. When I breathe here, a lot of times it makes me want to move. So feel free to move if it feels good to you. You don't have to, but if it feels good, do it. And continue to breathe into this part of your body, connecting to your yoni, to your sit bones, to your hips. A lot of times we store a lot of our tensions and stresses in our hips. So to give them a little time and space to stretch out and move, it's going to feel really good to the body. And remember, we're dropping out of our head, out of the practical, into our body, into what it wants to do. It's very intuitive with its motions. I can tell you, if you allow yourself to that freedom, to allow your body to move the way that it wants to move, it's going to tell you. There's nobody here to watch you. Allow yourself to move the way it wants to move, without thinking, without guilt, without shame. And if those things come up, that's okay too. Just know that they were there at one time to keep you safe, but it may be time to start telling them that you are safe and you don't need them anymore. Roll in your hips a little bit here. Maybe you're moving your hands a little bit here. I like to stretch my back sometimes. That's what's calling me to today, anyways. I'm going to have you be still for a second if you're here with us. And we're going to take a couple intentional breaths. As we breathe in, I'm going to have you clench your pelvic floor muscles, your yoni. It's kind of like a Kegel is what we're going to do next. And when we exhale, we're going to release. We're going to do this probably 5 to 10 times. I think we're going to do 10 times. It's going to really start to build that heat for you. So as you're breathing in, you're clenching your pelvic floor. Breathe out, release. Do a few more times, 9 more times. Breathing in, clench, breathe out. Really building that fire. Breathing in, clench, breathe out, release. Breathing in, release. Breathing in, release. Breathing in, release. Breathing in, release. 7, 8 more times, or 3 more times. Breathing in, release. You may start to feel more sensations in the body, starting to wake. Breathe in, release. Breathing in, release. And this time when you breathe in, you're going to clench all the muscles in your body. Breathing in, tense everything up. Hold it. And release. Taking notice of any sensations that are starting to come alive for you here. That really wakens my whole body up. I can instantly feel the shirt on my back and like the hair on my arms. So just taking notice of anything that's like no longer numb, maybe whatever is more awake now. Allow yourself to stretch a little bit. I know a lot of people before they get into this, when I've done this exercise, they like to get down on their hands and knees, kind of doing what would be a cat-cow. So we're going to do that now. Again, if you're feeling ready to go for your selfies, go for it. You can fast forward this. But for those that are still getting into their bodies, taking time to connect with yourself is going to be so good. Again, swiveling the hips, allowing yourself to move the way the body wants to move. Maybe you're swaying back and forth a little bit like this, doing some cat-cows. I'm going to do 2 more of those. Stretching up the arms. And I'm feeling pretty ready to go now. If you need more time, feel free to take the time that you need to get into your body. This is for you, the way you want to do. If you have your own practices that you love to do, I recommend doing them. And if you're ready to take some selfies, let's freaking do it. Some of my favorite things to do is when I do my boudoir sessions is like our clients like go through the process of getting pampered. Like they get their hair and then their makeup done. And that's not just because it's nice. I mean, it's fucking nice, right? To like get your hair and makeup done. We don't get that often. I'm going to plug this in here as we're transitioning. I think we're good. Oh, we're still on the MacBook. I'm going to move it over to this in a second. Since we're still on the MacBook, I got to turn this guy on in a second. Oh, he might be dead. Oh, no, he's not. Okay. So, as I was saying, lost my train of thought for a second there. Let's see. Yeah, our clients get pampered during their luxury photo shoots. And so getting the hair and makeup done, it's not just about, yes, you're going to look beautiful and pretty, but like someone to put their hands through your hair, to touch your skin, it's going to start to awaken parts of you that are, maybe offline. And so like, that's why I do the breath work, because it drops me into my body a little bit more. I believe when we do get our hair and makeup done, it also drops us into the body sensation, like having someone else kind of do things for you. It feels really good. And I just want to remind you that like when you do things like that, it is helping you with your embodiment. It's not just like an outside thing. It really can be an internal thing, especially when we do things with intention. So I hope that's I don't know, that's my little spiel for today. So let's see, let's get this on. I'm gonna move this over. See if this works. Oh yeah, it's working. Hello, cool. Hopefully it's not too loud. All right, this is gonna help as I'm moving around the room for us today. So I wouldn't totally take pictures with the mic on normally, but today we're doing it because this is gonna be fun. Okay, so bring you guys over here closer to the window space. Put you guys on my ladder here. Give a little bit more room. Okay, let's see. Technical difficulties are all good. Okay, so let's see here. It's not going to quite fit for us. So, you know, we make adjustments. As you do with any time and any space, part of it's getting creative, right? So I have a table here, putting us on. Cool, perfect. I'm going to turn our other camera on. You guys can see both angles while we're shooting this. I think that's going to be pretty cool. It's not the best camera, but I'm going to see if we can go into my camera. So it's not going to give me, okay, that's okay. You know what, we'll still do it through here. Because then you guys can see kind of the camera version. I think that would be actually pretty dope. Okay, so this is my camera version. This is obviously a recording version. They're going to look pretty darn similar. And you know what? I have a couple ideas that's going to maybe help you guys a little bit. So we'll start with this angle first, just so you can get an idea of like a full body shot. And then I'll kind of show you how I would shoot this a little different. I'm going to move. Clean up my space. This space is obviously a little bit more cleaner than maybe our houses are. My house definitely has children things anywhere, but I usually can like get a little corner where I am able to take photos and video, and the rest of the house can be chaos. That's okay with me. So when this is kind of that angle where you guys are my 45, so I'm going to be a little bit away from the window, and I'm a little on this angle, right? So probably would turn my camera a little bit. And the window is kind of coming across me. You can see some shadows on this side. If I stand here and I'm just like, hey, cheese, like I look pretty boring, I would say. So the idea here is we're going to turn our bodies away from the window. So allowing just this back part of us to be lit. Then we're going to pop a knee. You can already see like I'm in shadow here, but like this part of me is all lit up, which is pretty cool. Already creating a little bit of depth. My hips are forward right now. So what I'm going to do is push my hips back like this. These are probably not the best pants for today because they are like very bunchy in the hips, but like I wanted to show you reality. Like this is, sometimes we're going to have like bunchiness, and I'm going to show you what we can do with that. So I'm pushing my hips back like so. My weight goes into my back foot as well. And this is my base pose. So I have this leg is going to keep turning out. I'm also pointing my toe here like so. I want to be a little bit more in my frame here like this. Bringing the hand maybe onto my knee, and then I bring it back. Creating this little hole here. And then maybe I'll bring my hand up here. The shot might look like this. Take my glasses off today. Those are just to see you guys on the computer. And so what I'm going to do with my face is I'm going to turn it towards the windows, and then I can bring my eyes to the camera. So this is going to give me that nice pose where my body's in like good places where it should be. If I want to like stretch it out a little bit more, I might bring my arms up. This is allowing me to stretch my back more. And I can kind of play with my hands. Maybe I don't love where my hands are. And I can kind of play with them. Maybe I'm putting them in like this. Keeping my arms a little asymmetrical so they don't look exactly the same. So like if we're going here, we're like, oh, I kind of want both my hands up. Maybe I bring one more to my neck.
So it's similar, but not exactly the same. Keeps the eye interested and engaged. So there's kind of a go-to standing pose for you. So always when you find your light, you're going to want to put your back to it and turn your face towards it. As women, we like to have that like nice twist. The more we can twist, the more curve we're going to get. Push your hips back, hand up into the hair, hip here, push back. And you snap away. So let's see if I can take a quick snapshot. You guys won't be able to see this, but I can drop it in after. I'm just going into portrait mode right now. I'm going into portrait mode. I am keeping my f-stop the same. Everything's pretty much already set up for me on my camera because we already did this, except for I'm going to put the timer on. I'm going to give myself 10 seconds, and it's counting me down. Pop into that pose. Come back a little bit. Hand up here, other hand here. I'd like this probably a little better. Okay, let me do it one more time. Okay, hips back, leg here, arm up. Another another big tip that you guys might want to take with you. I do this a bunch of times. Like, trust me, you're going to be wanting to do this a lot. And I'm pushing my chin out. Big deal is to push this chin out. I'm not pushing it in like this. Again, we're exaggerating our bodies because in real life, we're moving, we're doing all the things. We're not just standing still. So we don't look like this in real life, but because sometimes we take pictures where we're feeling like we have to, and we're feeling a little shy away from the camera, that happens. I'm going to do another shot here that you guys can see. It'll be a little bit more straight on to the camera. So again, I'm going to get a little bit closer to the window here. You guys can see I'm getting like a little bit of shadow here across my body. If I go like this, well lit. If I have my camera here, I'm going to get that really well lit picture. But I like a little bit of texture and a little bit of shadow. So I'm going to be more of that 90 degrees again. So again, I'm going to pop my knee forward this time. Moving myself out a little bit. Push my hips back. And instead of having my arms out to the side, I'm going to put one down like this, crossing the body. Kind of breaks up with my body, like where my kind of breaks me up a little bit. I can kind of hold onto my hip, and then I'm bringing the other hand up. Again, I'm pushing back into my left hip here, bringing another hand up, and this hand can play a little bit. I don't want to hit my mic too much, but this is kind of a place where you can allow your hands to move. Maybe you're coming onto your neck and kind of coming down the body. That might be a really fun shot to play with. Playing with the hair, of course. It's like when people are like, oh, what do I do with my hands? It's like all the things you normally do. You probably play with your hair, probably touch your shoulders. I tell a lot of my clients that if you are someone that tends to bring your hands to your hips, like even these pants, right? They're a little bit bunchy. Well, I'm going to play with them. I'm going to pull on them. Maybe I'm pulling up like this. Maybe I'm pulling down a little bit. So I'm showing a little bit of skin. That can be kind of cute and flirty. So let's play with that. That's kind of fun. Popping the knee, pushing my hips back. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm going to try to do these in 3 seconds. You guys are going to make me sweat. So this is 3, 2, 1. Pose. Again, I'm going to change it up every couple times. So like maybe this time I'm going to come up like that. Hands come here. Again, I'm really pushing my hips back. Like I'm feeling it right in here. If I can show you what I'm doing is, and this is kind of a cute shot, like I'm getting my booty up on here. When I'm taking this shot, and I might as well take it like this. This is kind of a fun one. Sometimes we have happy accidents. So 10 seconds. Pushing my hips back, putting my arms forward, creating this arch in my back. That's kind of fun, right? Looking like this. So again, getting that 90-degree angle. Push the hips back, pop the knee. Hands, maybe we're going like this time. And that's kind of cool because like now you guys are kind of seeing what you can do by just having your legs and seeing how I'm just playing. Like I'm not like intentionally being like, this picture has to look like this. I know exactly where my hands are going to go. I'm honestly moving a lot when I take these. Again, taking a video of what you do. Maybe this is what we'll do now. We'll do a quick video of like the process because, and then I'm looking at these a little bit right now. They're not like 100% of what I like, but they're playful, they're fun, they're in the moment of what I'm experiencing right now. I said I wanted something where I feel a little bit more free. So to me, I want to be wider. Again, I'm pushing the hips back here like this, and I want to be freedom. To me, freedom feels open. It feels loud. It feels full. So whatever that expression looks like to you, when you go and you're like, I want to create these images, maybe you go into looking at something like Pinterest or get inspiration from somewhere like, oh, she looks so free. Poses are meant to express. Remember, poses aren't meant to like keep us stiff and like feeling like robots. They are meant to express. Get into different positions to show different self-expression. If we're wanting to feel closed off, maybe we're like really huddled up onto the ground, right? If we're wanting to feel open and joyful, you tend to like want the body to look that way as well. So just to give you guys some ideas of what to play with, and as you're seeing images, like noticing like, what is that pose giving me? What is that feeling that person is giving me? And start to take notice of that. You'll start to notice those things. Start to notice where their hips are. Start to notice where their shoulders are. Even seeing me here, you can see the light hitting me differently as I'm moving around. So I'm going to give you guys another different perspective as we're going through this because I think that's really important. I know when I do stuff like this, I like to show me all the perspectives that are possible for me to take these photos. So I'm going to show you from another perspective. Remember that 135-degree angle? So we're going to come to 135 degrees here. So you're not straight onto the bed. The windows are going to be kind of backing off to my left here. I have my camera here. I'm not going to be able to show you exactly. I'll show you the view that I have right now. And then I'll show you. And then I'm going to turn it off so I can take the photos. Okay, so you can kind of see, I feel like when you get the phone view, it gives you a little bit more. See, like that's the only thing with phones. Sometimes you get this weird little glare, right? So sometimes you don't want that in the picture, but you can still be on that degree. So I'll probably bring you back here actually. Yep, I'm gonna move this so you can see in the phone view, you are getting a little bit of this light. That doesn't bother me too much. If it bothers you, you can keep moving around. But for me, I don't mind that little burst. I think it's kind of pretty, honestly. And so, again, we're still shooting at this like 135 degrees. The windows are over here. I'm gonna be here, and my camera's kind of off to the side. So 90 degrees, 45 degrees. 135-ish over here. So we're going to move into a couple more kneeling pictures. So again, I'm probably going to angle myself towards the windows. So before I had my butt towards the windows, which we can do, and we can kind of twist up like that. My glasses are here, and turn back. Or we can face them this way, putting our back more into that shadowing spot. So let's play with that. I think that's a cool place to play. I like anything on my knees. I know it's silly, but I feel like it's gives me it's a really good base to start, is like just get onto the knees, create that base. That way you can play with your arms a lot more. So I'm going to turn off this camera. Wondering if I okay. So come play me, guys. This is the next thing. Okay, cool. So, mm, you know what? I think I'm gonna keep actually the camera on, my phone on, and I won't actually take the photos, and I'll just kind of show you guys what I do as far as like um, my movement goes, so we don't have to worry about the picture. So if you're just taking video of your selfie session, maybe to start, like this is something you can do. So again, we have our light over here. And what I might start with is I like where my hips are. I'm pushing my hips back, lifting my butt up off my sit bones. Bring my hands into my head. Bring them down the body. Hopefully that wasn't too loud as I put my hands over. Instead of thinking too much about it, to take the photo, I'm just videoing myself, maybe enjoying the moment. Breathing into my space, breathing into my body. Again, I was saying I wanted freedom. That was my intention for this. So for me, that also feels like stretching my chest forward. And as I'm stretching my chest forward, I'm pushing my hips back. And I don't care if I'm like doing this a little extra. Like maybe in a photo session, I wouldn't be like so exaggerated. But for me right now, like that feels really good. Pulling my elbows back, bringing my hands up into my hair. Um, and so even maybe going the other way. So you'll notice, okay, like my face is totally in shadow here now. Like if you look at the photo, video. But if I start to bring my face back, you're gonna start to notice this light here and light here, kind of onto this part of me. So maybe I want to kind of create this little angle. I can't really totally see myself right now, and that's kind of okay. Where I'm like maybe holding onto my pants and then bringing my hand up into my hair. And then this hand gets to play a little bit. Again, like allowing yourself to move and embody the motions, I think is very important, especially if you're doing this for deeper connection to yourself. I'm going to show you this also if you were like taking this for a more branding type image. On our knees, I'm going to bring you in front here. Sorry for all the chest shots. Okay, so I'm going to bring myself in a little bit closer. And remember how we were saying, here we go. Yes, perfect. Good. So I'm going to actually stay on my knees because it's bringing my hips back, and then I can kind of push my chest forward. That is very swishy, so I definitely have to take a little bit more time with it. But again, like I can crop this in here if I want to, and so I'm gonna like push my chest forward here, bring my chin up. Again, I'm getting that light over the body. Maybe I turn my face a little bit more towards the windows, pushing my elbows back. Geez. This should be like maybe a pose for a branding shot. Maybe I'm kind of hugging the body a little bit because maybe I'm feeling a little bit cozy, wanting to feel a little bit cozy here. Something else I like to do a lot is do like a little head tilt rather than just this kind of straight face. I think that's a little bit more interesting for me. Giving myself a little head tilt here, bring my eyes to the camera, leaning in. You can do one of those fake laughs if you want to, bringing the hand up into the hair. I know it feels like so simple maybe, but once you can have your body in the right places, you can get to play. Like that's the fun of this all, right? So feel free to play. If like the sitting in the knees thing is really too much, just sit on the edge of the bed like normal. Again, I'm pushing into my toes here. Let's see if I can show you guys a little bit. So I'm going to pull you guys back. I'll come here. So I'm going to push. Yeah, I'll pull this all the way back so you can really see what I'm doing. So I'm going to keep ourselves here, and I will take this photo as something else so you guys can actually see what the legs are doing while we're going through the motions of all this. This is pretty cool. I'm glad you guys are able to see all these. Some sitting, never sitting just like this. Look at my posture, like not super attractive, right? Um, and I usually recommend not even shooting straight on, but if you're like, I have no other option, um, and you're just doing a tight shot here, pushing into your knees is already going to get your posture in the right position. So pop onto those toes, push your hips back. Already it's like putting me in a different frame of mind, different like feel to the photo. So I'm actually just going to take this as a normal selfie. And so I'm bringing my hand out and up, pushing my hips back so they're already looking kind of a little more snatched here. And maybe I'm looking towards the camera, maybe looking towards the window. Maybe I'm playing with my hair a little bit. I'm taking my glasses off. And it gives you a little bit of variety there. Other thing that you can do while you're here, like I was kind of moving there, and I just want to like take notice of that. Like you can move the body while you're here. Again, like these bases are just to like have like a base to take your photos, to move in. That's why I like keeping the legs the same for a little while and then being able to move the body around. I'm actually really liking this photo I'm seeing on their screens. I want to take that one actually. Is this the things you're going to start to notice as you're like, oh, I didn't even notice I like that, but now I have a few skills that teach me how to take photos that of myself that are interesting and not just the same old selfie like I just took. Like anyone could take that picture, but to create interest and depth, it takes a little extra and not too much, just enough to even keep yourself interested, I think is important. So I'm going to go back. I have 10 seconds. Bring those legs wide. I'm up on my toes. I'm going to change up my arms a little bit. 3, 2, 1. Good. That's kind of a fun shot for me. I'm going to do one more. Change up the hands. I'm bringing them up. And I can kind of check myself out here. 3, 2, 1. Cool. And that can be a sexy shot. That can also be a branding shot. I'm going to do one more. I'm still up on my arms. I'm doing that like asymmetrical thing. This is straight on. I normally don't shoot this way. Give you a little bit of variety there. So, oops. I guess we'll do one more because I have it. Maybe I'm doing this. I'll look at the camera. Okay. And let's check them out real quick. Okay. Some are kind of cool. I'll probably post these for you guys. I don't mind that. I could probably use that for something. I like the looking off to the side because then if I want to post text, if I'm doing branding, that's cool. I can also crop this in quite a bit if I'm using this. I don't need those legs in there. So much you can do, which is a little bit of posing and a little bit of mindset. I'm going to kind of wrap this up. As far as like talking, I'm going to probably just toss some music over the next few things that I do just so you guys can see me like finish off this session and enjoy. I hope you guys really like this, and I can't wait to see what you guys are creating.